everybody? How you doing on this lovely Tuesday? Do you care about your self-care? Yeah. All right. For this month of April, we have Alcohol Awareness Month. And today's episode for Self-Care Check, Behind the Buzz, Real Talk. Take the tone down a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I think they had my volume on drunk. But today's episode is Behind the Buzz, Real Talk on Alcohol. And next to me is the man himself of the NA class here at Tier 1, Bobby Singletary. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm well today. Thank you. Yes. And how are you?
Man, I can't wait to get drunk on this information.
Okay.
The right way. You know, because there's a little slogan about alcohol that was given to me, and it says, know your limits, own your choices, let's talk alcohol awareness. And when you hear that, what would you think, being that, you know, you lead an awareness class?
Knowing your limits is so important because a lot of people, alcohol is legal, so they feel like it's okay to drink. Mm-hmm. But once you get impaired, your decisions are off. Even driving a vehicle is dangerous because everything is impaired. So that's why it's so important to know your limit and own your choices. Own your choices mean that if you're drinking, how about calling an Uber?
Or having a designated driver.
Or having a designated driver. Don't drink and drive. That's the bottom line. And let's talk about the awareness because the life that you save may be your own.
Ooh, that's deep. That's really deep. So in other words, when I'm drinking this, I have to really take the consideration of my thoughts, my actions, and even when I'm impaired, I know that they're gonna be definitely off. And even if I hang out with my friends who tell me my reactions, I should take all of that into account. You're saying?
Absolutely, because everyone who drinks is not an alcoholic. And listen, we live in a society that does not frown on alcohol. Alcohol makes a lot of money, and it's going to be here probably until the end of man. So the thing of it is that we just have to learn as individuals how much we want alcohol in our life, how much that we want to intake, and what's the purpose.
Well, we have here just for some convo dealing with alcohol. It's like some of the risks, like long term, and other problems, and even short term. So these are some of the alcohol risks on average: heart health, diabetes, dementia, and gallstones. And long terms is mental health, alcohol use disorder, and as far as just problems, cancer, brain damage, liver damage, and short term is alcohol poisoning and addiction. Like, I mean, just reading that and knowing how enjoyable alcohol is at the right appropriate times. You know, just not just to hang out, but just to celebrate something of remembrance. Or I really don't know no other way to really use alcohol unless you're a drag racer. Or a certain bump, bruises. Like alcohol even soothes some swelling for some people if they have bad swelling. It actually just rubbing it in takes away that swelling and that pain or that heat. It cools it off. My grandmother taught me that. But we're gonna get into these questions. For our first question, Bobby.
Okay, the first question says, when you think about your relationship with alcohol, what comes to mind? And how do you define healthy use? My relationship with alcohol ended in divorce because I abused alcohol. Alcohol was a gateway drug to me. It was my first love. Uh, I learned to do things I couldn't do, and it seems like it enhanced everything I was doing. dancing and singing and hanging out. Alcohol made everything better from the beginning.
The beginning.
From the beginning.
Woo.
And, there are people, like I said, are sociable drinkers. They can have a glass of wine with dinner. I can't. Because one glass of wine ain't never did me no good. I don't drink like normal people drink to be social and to just enjoy the taste of alcohol. I drink alcohol to get drunk because that's what I like about it, the way it makes me feel. And then a lot of times when I'm under the influence of alcohol, I don't remember what I did or who I did to the following night.
So we know how that be feeling.
So that's why I had to have a divorce with alcohol.
So we're gonna jump it out into the audience.
Well, I could say today, I was never an alcoholic though, but I did drink. I was a weekend drinker, and that used to be dark, Hennessy or Remy.
Weekend alcoholic.
I was a weekend drinker, and today you can't get that to me. I will not drink it today because I can't handle it like I used to. I'm not a drinker like I used to be before, but today I had me a glass of wine, and that's socially, you know what I'm saying? I don't drink it like that. If I go out, I'll have some. If I have company, I have some. Other than that, I never had a problem with that. Never had a problem with it. And I just sit down and relax and enjoy myself with my daddy, to be exact.
So you in good company.
Yes, because my daddy, he likes his little wine too.
Anyone else?
Yeah, man. When I look at my sangria, the first thing come to my mind is Ebony and Ivory. Nah, but like Michelle said, I drink wine here and there. You know what I'm saying? And back then when I was out there, used to have the corn liquor, the Henny, the 151, the Jing,
Mad Dog.
all that.
Mad Dog.
Mad Dog 8080.
Hard to let.
Nah, I don't mess with that. But I just thank God now, that it didn't take over me, but I'm the one that could have a wine without letting control my mind. So I'm a responsible drinker.
Amen.
Yeah. Good.
When you think about your relationship with alcohol, what comes to mind, and how do you defend healthy use?
For me, that's the love of my life, like Bobby said, man. I don't promote any type of drinking as a healthy choice of drinking. That's because that's how I am. Me being a recovering addict and alcoholic, it ain't no let's have a drink of wine and let's sit at the bar, let's socialize. I can socialize without it now. So if just one cup is like, okay, we can cancel the rest of the week out because it's just like a nonstop thing. So for me, I don't promote it. I don't tell anybody, hey, go out and have a drink or something like that. I say, man, go for a walk. Try to get over certain things in a healthy way before you use any type of substance to get away from something. So and that's just a small example. So.
Bobby, I think, because he said drinking is not alcoholic.
Everybody who's drinking is not an alcoholic.
So I'm confused because I know I don't drinking no more, but I never was a drinker. But I have a cousin, he drink every day, and sometimes he drink to the point like he don't be himself. But like when he ain't drinking, he be like a normal person and quiet. But when he really drink, he staggers. He like to joke around, but he be drunk, like to the point like a drunk, like every day, like his hands is swelling up, and I'll be telling him, and he be like, I just had just a little bit, you know, and he'll just be like, and I'm just like, wow, and his eyes is turning color. So, what do you call that?
Liver
Like,
is starting to affect his liver.
that's why I be trying to tell him, but he don't
Michael
want to
Jordan.
hear that.
Y'all see Michael Jordan?
Yes,
He don't want to hear that. Like, so that's what I'm saying. What do you call them people? Just alcoholics?
Yeah, that's
Bobby?
What we try not to do is define people. We allow people to define themselves. So he just have a problem right now with drinking. And that's where I would define it. I wouldn't put a title on a person saying you're alcoholic or you're a drunk. We know a lot of people have problems. But let me say this, because when I say everybody who drinks is not an alcoholic, there are people who got wine cellars full of wine. And they only drink occasionally, maybe on holidays or something like that, and they don't drink and then go driving. They drink and they stay home. So, alcohol doesn't cause them the problems that it would cause me. Because if I drink, I'm not staying home. And just like I said, alcohol for me is a gateway drug. That ain't what I want. So if I start drinking alcohol, I'm going to get what I want. Because that was never my drug of choice.
Thank you. So, like, as far as for me on this question, because when I think about my relationship with alcohol, I think about the time I was walking down the street with my sister. I was just going through a breakup, and I was drinking like 3 Mad Dog 2020s. Yeah, and ew, yeah. And just tell you how old I was. It's like the early 20s, like 22, 21. I kicked my phone 5 car lengths down the street trying to catch it with my foot because I could. Yeah, so it just makes me think about how clumsy I get, and I don't like being clumsy. You lose this, you lose that. I lost like plenty of times hanging out with friends, going out. I lose my keys. I'll lose my wallet, but then I'll find my wallet. But I'll lose my keys, break my phone, like I said. So I just got tired of breaking things and losing things, and realized I needed to catch myself. So that's what drinking reminds me of. So I stay home. I don't go out. Somebody, you have a question out there?
One thing I'd like to point out is something that's not talked about enough. Black men are 3 times likely to have prostate cancer than any other race. And alcohol is a major factor in that. And our community, black men don't even think about that.
True.
The more alcohol you consume, the more likely, it's already genetic, but the more likely you're going to have prostate cancer. And that's something to really think about.
Thank you for that. I did not know that.
Yeah, for me, with alcohol, if I just drink beer, I was good. But long as I didn't go to liquor, I could manage it. I drink a beer, I could drink beer like, go just drink beer or be home and drink beer and not become drunk. But then I would get a whiskey and then all hell break loose. And then I wouldn't drink the beer. I'm drinking the whiskey, beer, and then the whiskey overcame the beer. So, if I drank just beer, I could be sociable and be able to handle alcohol. As soon as I drank something other than beer, my alcoholism was at a high, all-time high. So I'm a little scared of that alcoholism. And then again, like I said, it's a gateway drug to, other drugs. And then, cocaine always came in. And that affected me a lot. So, I don't even drink liquor no more. I drink some beer. But I have a shot of whiskey, every now and again. But I don't abuse it. So.
You say.
So we're gonna go on to question number 2, Bobby.
Okay.
You want to read it?
No, go ahead.
Okay. How does daily or regular drinking impact your body, mind, and relationships, even if you don't consider yourself dependent?
First, I want to say thank you, Easy, for answering this question for me. Just up top, what he said, just convey risks of alcohol. Those of all the risks that you take of the impact of drinking daily, diabetes, long-term health turn, mental health, alcohol disorders, and other problems, alcohol poisoning, addiction. When alcohol is probably one of the worst drugs. Alcohol is a drug. To stop once you realize that alcohol is causing your life a problem. We've seen people go through DTs, which is really, really, really hard. Coming off alcohol is worse than sometimes coming off drugs. So when people are drinking every day, they're forming a habit. And our body, we started getting used to, so we start consuming more to get to where we want to get to. And before you know it, we're drinking so much alcohol that is physically affecting us. So for anyone who drinks alcohol on a daily basis, the thing that I would be concerned about is the progression, is how much I'm using each week to maintain or to, sustain where I want to get to. And that's where the problem comes in. That's where the addiction comes in.
I mean, the way that you said that is like, it took me for a whirl in my mind just imagining those stages where, because I've somewhat done it. Started, like I said, I was in the depression, just drinking during the day, drinking just to be drinking because of how I felt, and it felt good for those feelings just to be buttered down out of me, just from every drink, every throwback. It's and then listening to the sad music just to bring me into the mood even more, just to push me even further, not even looking in the mirror saying that I'm not buying no new clothes. I'm not even washing my face. I ain't even get my hair done. I ain't even brush my teeth. I ain't even take a shower. Like, it just keeps going, But I want that drink. I want that feel. Well, like I said, I caught myself with everything that I was doing, and just to know I didn't fully go down that road, I feel saved even more from how you explained it and taking me back. Because I wasn't dependent. I was not thinking of myself to do better, love myself more, and desire more. Because I got to love me and not concern myself about the love that I missed from somebody. So, anybody else? With an experience of daily drinking?
Oh, all right, go.
Daily drinking? My mom's, she was an alcoholic. And Bobby said that DDTs, my mother went through it. And for me to witness based on how it had her, because she was talking out her head. My aunt didn't know what to do. They was going to put her in the crazy house and whatsoever. That's how bad it was. But she got saved. She found Christ. She was a Christian. But my brother, he's an alcoholic. And he's getting worse. Like you said, you didn't wash your butt and all that, whatever. But that's what he's going through, because he's living like an animal. And can you imagine me living with him and I have to clean up behind him when I got to use the bathroom? But I know in my heart I have to keep praying for him. I have to. Because that's my only brother. And he all I got. and he'll always be my hero. Yes. And me, the way I see it, the way it did my mother, I did my drinking and whatsoever, but I didn't abuse it. Based on what it did to my mother. So, alcohol is a drug. Yes, it is.
You have another time.
Yeah, man, I could relate to everything you were saying, because there was some days where I did skip a shower or two, you know, just being heavily sedated, just having enough to heavily sedate me, like, not like I'm running around outside, like dirty, it's just like I'm in the house. It was just, I had the luxury of being nested while it was all happening. And it's so crazy because when I see I'm looking at the sign behind you that says Alcohol Awareness Month, I'm like, dang, I missed a month of, like, they had a month for us for me to, you know, like, and that's how crazy the mind is, that I'm like, dang, I missed a party whole month for us. Like, that's how crazy it is. And I can relate to everything that you were saying, man. It was just like that mental depression, and not even know that I was going through it. And I'm just thinking it's a normal cycle because it was part of my everyday life, or just so consistently I was a binge drinker. So when it happened, it happened. When I bounce out of it, I bounce out of it. But when I go back into it, is, you know, dive in head first with it. So I completely understand that. And did you have another question?
Oh no, that was the question. He want more.
We got one more.
That's good. That's good. Anyone else before we pull it back in the room? Go ahead.
Can't get right. Where you going?
About to get it on.
On this question because I got a lot of experience.
West Brain.
Got a lot of experience with alcohol. I grew up watching my father get wasted like every night, but he was a functional alcoholic. Now I don't know if this was a good thing or a bad thing, because like mirroring him, like most sons do mirror their fathers, you know. I took on his traits. I remember having drinks at 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I was old enough to reach his dresser where those little nips was at, I know y'all know them little green J&B nips. I used to get to them things a mite early, you know. So I can also consider myself to be a functional alcoholic, but it wasn't until later on in life, which was still early, because I'm talking my senior year of high school, that's when the alcohol proved its gateway into other things, you know, like was mentioned, the cocaine, the crack, the heroin, all of that stuff came, and something else came along with it, was those silver bracelets that nobody's mentioned yet, you know. I just really, I'm glad I got involved with an organization that keeps me more vigilant as to what would happen to me with long-term drinking or long-term drug using. And yeah, I don't have to walk that dreadful path that would surface if I took on, you know, the long-term drinking. So yeah, that's all I got.
Cut question for the audience. No, ain't no cut. What handcuffs you talking about?
The silver bracelets, you don't know what those are?
Them handcuffs?
Yeah.
Okay, you should have said that, because everybody was like,
Yeah, well, when I say silver bracelets, in the back of that squad car, on the way to
That was too drunk. He was telling
also a part of the story, like, he was such an alcoholic, you know, it grew from them little green nips to moonshine. He used to keep a 5-gallon jug of moonshine.
Don't tell our moonshine like that. Moonshine don't hurt nobody.
Drinks for me and my friends whenever I wanted to. You know, it was kind of weird, but you know, we live and we learn. You know, we keep it moving. We know what we can have. We know what we can't have. We know how much we can have. We know how much not to take.
Sometimes we don't do.
Well, some do, some don't. But that's all I got. Thanks for letting me.
Thank you, Jasper. So, for our last question, for our guests, what are the emotional stages someone might go through before they accept they need help, and how can we support them through each one?
That's a good question. And I want to thank Jasper for just sharing, because Jasper just reminded me how the relationship started.
Yeah.
And it started, you're right, when we were small and we was able to drink the little beer that they left from parties and whatnot. And, some people thought it was cute to the little kids drink and whatnot. And it was okay because it was legal, And what happens is that as I got older and issues started coming into my life, alcohol soothes those issues. If I had issues with a girl, alcohol soothes the heartache. When I was going through other decisions, alcohol was my best friend, until I got dependent on it. Until it was no longer giving me that false sense of security. And it's funny because we all talked about beer muscles, and everybody know what beer muscles is. When you drink alcohol, you get tough. Now, alcohol was one of those drugs that caused me and a lot of other people to get beat up or get into fights. Because, like I said, you get them beer muscles with you saying things to somebody that you scared of. You know what I'm saying? But the alcohol says, say it. You know what I'm saying? Say it. And the guy don't mess with you because he's looking at you like he drunk. he drunk. And I look at that relationship. The unfortunate thing is that we the last person to know that we need help. Everybody else know we need help, but for some reason we feel if everybody just leave us alone, just leave me alone, and I'll be all right. Well, we all found out that issues and problems don't get better for us leaving them alone.
They don't solve themselves.
And when I found out that I needed help, and like I said, alcohol is a drug. That I needed help. I didn't know where to go. And at that time, they used to always have this commercial on. And they would show an egg frying on the ground. It said, this is your brain on crack. Right? And then, they would show a car accident. And they'll say, don't drink and drive. Right? They're giving all these little tokens and hints. Right? And I'm looking at, the decisions I'm making in life. I'm looking at how I'm getting into a lot of car accidents, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it might be the drugs and the alcohol. They might be a little bit of problem. So I made a decision that I needed help. And thank God, that help is available for all of us. Thank God for this place right here, Tier 1, who opens the door to people who have never had any kind of recovery in their life. And we walk side by side with this person until they can get to a point where they can start fending for themselves. But thank God we got agencies out here like that today to help people. So I say today is like, it's not like it used to be. It was we hid everything because people said, them drug addicts, them alcoholics, they ain't no good. Well, today we realize that it's not that they ain't no good, it's a disease. And that, people don't wake up and say, hey, I'm going to become a drug addict or I'm going to become an alcoholic. It just happens. Mm-hmm. So thank God that, society has accepted it as a mental issue and that there's help for it.
Yes.
So, anyone who's seeking help can find it today. They even had this 1-800-COCAINE, 1-800 this. There's a lot of 1-800 that you can call to get help today. So help is here, thank God. And people don't frown on it like they used to. They don't ostracize people from society because they have a drinking problem today. Because it is part of our life today. And that's it.
Well, viewers, you heard it from the man himself, Bobby, and the beautiful audience here at Tier 1. And we'd like to all say together, out loud, do you care about your self-care?
Yes, sir.